Let me bring up Apex. Apex, what's good, bro? How you doing tonight?
What's going on, man? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, bro. Did you have an opportunity to did you hear the audio? Did you get to watch the video?
Yeah. I went and watched it, and then I listened to the audio when you played it back again. I 100% agree.
Yeah, bro. So like I said, I want you to you said you agree. I want you to say why you agree. I want you to speak on if you feel that, just the average everyday black man, just the man that wakes up every morning, he got a day job Monday through Friday, he makes an honest living, he pays taxes, he has insurance, he has benefits, he's not scamming, he's not robbing, he's not being a dope boy. He's not living a fast life. He's not buying sections, popping bottles. I want you to speak on if you feel a lot of black women actually desire that guy. I want you to speak about what your experiences have been with black women up to this point in your life. And even if you've experienced things that can support your argument into why you agree with what she had to say. Um, if you've seen, like I said, your brothers, your homies, whoever it may be, I want you to speak to all of that.
That I was that guy at one point in time. And it's weird actually. If you spend a lot of time on this side of the internet, where you get to actually hear and see these different perspectives, and you actually hear when guys go out and like they do these interviews, and they actually ask, "Hey, what do you want? You want a 9 to 5? You want a dope boy? You want a scammer? What do you want?" 9 to 5 is always at the bottom of the list, right? If you are providing a certain amount of security and comfort, you are always the least desired. And I'm not going to say that goes for all women, right? But for a good portion of women, that when they talk to them, especially within if they're within a certain age range. Matter of fact, I just saw a video that I was actually going to do a response to not that long ago. She was talking about, oh, me being shy and innocent, hopping in the car with my older drug dealing boyfriend. And I was like, at one point in time, that was actually a flex for women to be able to talk to an older man that might have been in the streets. He might have been popping, or he might have been a little bit popular or whatever, and other women wanted him, but she was the one that just happened to be dealing with him at that point in time. So I mean, coming from a perspective of a guy who was actually doing the 9 to 5, and actually I was doing the 9 to 5, and I had two side hustles. You know what I'm saying? I got married a couple of years ago. Of course, I'm divorced now, but got married a couple of years ago, and I was actually doing that same thing. So in the beginning, like I said, when I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm basically doing what a man's supposed to do, working my 9 to 5, coming home every day, paying a good majority of the bills or whatever, 85% or whatever, and we're vacationing, we're doing all this stuff. As long as
Mm-hmm.
she has something to talk about, it was, all good and gravy. And when things kind of settled down a little bit, and now I'm focused on what the actual goals for a relationship should be, as far as like owning homes, putting money aside for retirement, all that type of stuff or whatever. When the excitement of it died down, the dynamics of relationship tend to change a little bit. And then, of course, the friends that was pro me, that was in support of that, but like, nah, girl, you still got a good man. He's still doing what he's supposed to do or whatever. I noticed that she would actually talk to those friends a little less. And the friends that would actually encourage poor behavior, she would hang out with those friends a little bit more. And that's the thing. So, and then if you bring those things up in conversation, right? Be like, hey, they ain't up to no good. They always in some shit. They always having problems with the guys that they talk to or the guys that they deal with or whatever. Like, why are you even friends with them? They put unnecessary drama on you, and then you bring unnecessary drama into our relationship just for the fact that you entertain that stuff. So you have positive friends. You have friends who are also married. You have friends who are in their relationships and they solid or whatever. These are the people that we should hang with. These are the people that you should be associating yourself with. And you choose to go the other way, and you want to flex on them. And they're telling you that you got a good man, and you want to do the complete opposite. And I think the way that social media is set up, a lot of it has to do with that, to where they see other, even something as simple as, meeting up for lunch or something every day, like anything simple that they feel like they either haven't got recently or haven't gotten in a while. Or you ever heard somebody say, "Oh, you don't never do this for me." What you mean? I did that for you last week. I
Oh
did that for
man.
you, last month or whatever. You can't say never. You can say, "Hey, it's been a while since we did this." Saying, "Let's link up and let's try to do this." But you can't never say never. And they will say, "Hey, well, we don't never do this. Actually, remember that one time we did, or we don't never do this." Nah, remember, saying, we went here and we did that or whatever. And that's because they see it on social
Social
media,
media.
and that they and because they want to also be able to flex on social media. It seems like they either never done it or they haven't done it in a while. That's why I'm a big advocate for being ducked off and happy. Like, the sooner I can get out the game and dip off or whatever, like, I'm gone.
Let me ask, Apex. How old are you, bro?
I'm 35. I just turned 35 this year.
Oh, oh, okay. So, yeah, I want you to Chocolate Swinger. What's up, Chocolate Swinger? How you doing? Um, yeah, and I wanted, being that you have been married before, guys, please tap the screen, share the live with all the black men that you know. This is this is a safe space for black men tonight. We are having real conversations. We are having real conversations here tonight. Yeah, brother. So I wanted to know, like, you kind of touched on a little bit, but I wanted to know, like, I don't know how long you were married. Wait, you said you was married to your ex-wife for a couple years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wanted to know a couple of things I want you to speak on. I wanted to know if there were ever any times when y'all like had some disagreements and if she ever tried to say anything like, or point out that like, yo, you're just like an average guy. Like you just got like an average job. Like you really nobody special. Like you're not really doing anything special. Um, and I also want you to speak on your experience like growing up because I was a full ride scholarship basketball player for 3 years of my college career. And
Mm-hmm.
I played sports, I played basketball my whole life growing up, Apex. So like honestly, even when we're kids and stuff, we're in elementary, middle, high school, while we're not working, we're not having full-time jobs, we're not making money. I'm still like freshman year, I played on the JV team and I played varsity every year after that. Like I've always I never been like the square dude that just didn't play any sports, wasn't involved in any activities. Like I was always like a known person in my school and in my state. So went to
Mm-hmm.
college, played college ball and all that. But I want to, when I was thinking about this and looking at all these reactions,
Uh-huh.
Zilla, please go watch the pinned video on my profile and come back. This is what we're discussing tonight. Um, Apex, when I was thinking about this, I was like, you know what? I wonder. I can't even talk from the experience of like the guy that went to college, the black guy that went to college, and like he wasn't an athlete. He wasn't in any frets. He wasn't in any extracurricular activities on campus. No clubs, no programs. Like just the guy that literally just went to the calf and went to class and probably went to the rec center to work out and play sports. Like, because like I said, bro, when you hear a lot of these women talk now, he got to be at least 6 feet tall. They want him to make six figures. His Johnson got to be at least 6 inches. His sex got to be like a corn star. Like, does the average regular black man, do they desire that man? That's what. So I want you to speak about, like I said, I want you to speak on what you've experienced growing up or what you've seen, and I also want you to talk about if your wife ever like said anything like slick to you like that before.
No. So, I mean, the company that I've been with for a good little minute, and I've actually been rising up through the ranks of my company or whatever. Me taking my job more seriously every now and then would cause some controversy or whatever, because she was trying to be more so of the mind of, entrepreneurship, and basically not working for nobody, basically not trying to necessarily have a boss or have any type of overhead. And the more mainly, for her specifically or whatever, that was just more or less, part of her character or whatever. I was like, well, if you're not a good employee, you're damn sure not going to make a good boss or a good entrepreneur, right? You got to have some type of discipline, some type of structure or whatever. Like, even when you're an entrepreneur, you follow a set of rules. Matter of fact, entrepreneurs work harder than your average Joe anyway,
Right.
because that's a 24/7 grind if you're going to be an entrepreneur. And it seemed like most people attached to some of the lavishness of it, because you do get a chance to where you can make your own schedule. You could pick up and leave and go and do whatever if your business is up and running properly. But at the beginning, man, it's a grind. It's a grind. And for those that do it, my hat is off to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaning towards it, but I'm not trying to just jump into it 10 toes deep. So she wouldn't necessarily say anything as far as like me being average or anything like that or whatever, but she would say, "Oh, well, you just trying to keep that, a job or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a man. I'm gonna
Right.
keep a job. Like, that's what I'm gonna do, because that's what men do." And and then every now and again I would get the occasional, we get into it. Oh, I would get this one for sure, for sure. And I'm pretty sure a lot of men have got this. Oh, it's people waiting around, waiting for you to mess up or whatever. And I was like, well, where they at? Because I'm pretty sure people peeping you, people peeping me as well, because you put all our business out there. They know you got a good man. So do you really want to gamble on the fact that you can, the grass being greener on the other side, when people see, hey, you got a good man. If you let him go, I'm sliding. So that was my experience with that. So she never really just went at me as far as like, oh, you just average for the most part or whatever. But she definitely had that demeanor to where it's like maybe she felt like she could push me or get me to be more, but not necessarily in a sense to where it was better in me, but that it was better for her, because she would have something to talk about or something to flex with.
So you agree with the woman in this video that um and you were married to a black woman, correct?
Yes, yes, I was married to a black woman, and then I've actually known her for like, so I've known her for like 10 plus years before we even got married. So I remember there was even a point in time when we were talking or whatever, but she wasn't even on social media like that, and that's why I said social media plays so much of a big factor, because the more that she got into social media, the more I could start seeing a change. And as far as like how she moved, even when we got to the point to where it's like, okay, yeah, you getting attention, I'm getting attention too. Okay, well, let's just get off social media. Okay, cool. I could do that. Boom, delete Facebook. Boom, delete Instagram. Deactivate, deactivate, deactivate. She couldn't hang, because it was like, well, my friends are on there and stuff like that. I said, yeah, that's cool. Your friends are cool. They know where to find us. But if we deleting everything, let's just delete everything. That way, you don't get no attention. I don't get no attention. It's just me and you, and that didn't last. So I
But
knew
but
social media played a big part.
Apex, do you think? Yeah, listen, like social media is definitely like having a big influence on these women's minds because, like you said, they do see things on there, and it either inspires them to want to do the same thing, or they want to be able to they want to be able to post them like really doing it too. But like, do you think even if social media was a thing, do you think women just innately because in that video, she didn't mention anything about social media. She just said black
Hmm.
woman. She basically was saying black women innately just want to have something to talk about to their friends. Basically, be able to shit on their friends about their man. So what I'm asking you is, even if social media wasn't a thing, do you think black women would still have the same mindset and attitude for the most part as wanting a man that they can talk big to their friends about?
I think social media plays a larger part, because if a woman gets a man and it's the right man, right? A lot of times or whatever, she'll start being a little more flaky with her friends or whatever, right? It's like there's a degree of, and and your friends will even come at you like that, whatever. But like, oh yeah, ever since you got into that relationship, we don't hear from you no more. We don't hang out no more, whatever. If she's moving the right way, 9 times out of 10 or whatever, she'll start getting that type of energy, from her friends saying like, hey, we don't see you no more. And then, it's really not too much of nothing that she can tell them if she barely see them, barely talk to them like that. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
there's another side of it to where, if her friends are more, influential, in her life or whatever, even I would say most women, right, would say, "Hey, you got a good dude," you know what I'm saying? But you might have one friend, that's one friend in the group or whatever, and she's the bad influence. She's the one that's gonna push you to be your worst when you might be striving to be your best. And that friend will be the one that more than likely have that type of influence to where it's like, well, well, I'm doing this, so I'm doing that. Well, I want to do that too because I can't let her, especially her, because I know her track record. I can't let her have a leg up on me. So we need to be doing better than what they doing or better than what she's doing or whatever she got going on over there.
hey, Auntie Renee, hey, anyone that can see the question box right now, please, in the question box in all capital letters, please type, please go watch pinned video and come back so I can leave it on so it can be at the bottom of the screen. Please type that in all capital letters in the question box. Whoever knows how to type a question, type in, please go watch pinned video and come back so my moderator doesn't have to keep on typing it. Um, but Apex, um,
Yeah.
what was I about to ask you? Um, fuck, what was I about to ask you?
Well, your second question was about me growing up, but if you had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
question
Please
about
talk
what I
about
just
that. Please talk about that.
let's see. Growing up, I was pretty normal. I mean, I was an athlete, majority of my life. So like football, transition over to track. When I got tired of football and track, but I was also in other little one-off clubs or whatever. So I did a little drama, African American study group. Um, I did chess. I was just like all over the place. Like whatever caught my interest, I was like in a variety of different clubs as far as high school was concerned for the most part. So no, I got around and people knew who I was for the most part. I wouldn't necessarily deem myself and say quote unquote popular, but because I was involved in so many clubs and you saw my face all over the place, like I was somewhat well known. But even then,
Right.
like I said, from my high school experience, at least in my age group or whatever, I was also in that age group to where, there was a subset of women who didn't even talk to high school guys or whatever. They talked to dudes that had already had graduated, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. And now we'll probably get into that a whole nother time or whatever. And then there was people who gravitated more towards like, athletes dated the cheerleaders or they dated like the dancers or the Larriettes. Band was their own fraternity, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. It's like if you 9 times out of 10, if you was in band, you messed with somebody that was in band. Same thing with choir. They kind of rolled deep and kind of stayed, on their own little scene for the most part. And it was almost the same way, in college. I did fall into the step team, which made me want to pledge in college, but I was like, y'all ain't about to be beating on me just so I can hang out with y'all. So that fell short like real quick. So I didn't pledge in college. But I still
But
was on the scene, was able to go to the parties, like I said, between bouncing back and forth between PV and SFA, Sam Houston University and all that stuff. Like I was able to see how they pretty much moved the same way in college because college was an extension of high school, but people either got a lot more focus on what they wanted to do as far as their life after college, or they flamed out because they kept repeating the same patterns that they had when they were in high school.
if I was to ask you, like you said,
Hmm.
you played sports and stuff, like your face, like you had a face card, like people were like familiar with your face and stuff. But if I asked you like high school and college, if just like the average guy, like I said, the guy that didn't play any sports at all, the guy that he wasn't on the step team, he wasn't in band, he wasn't in orchestra, just the average student, like this guy literally. Thickums, I added you on accident. If you could get off. um, yeah, I added her on. I accidentally must have like clicked your name or something. If the did that guy, did you ever see, like, if you really had to think hard about it in high school and college, did you see that guy like getting attention from women, like especially black women? And before you even answer that,
It's
let me say this, Apex. Let
uh-huh.
me say this.
Go ahead.
I know that especially at my age, even though like they try to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, I know that at my age, a lot of these women, they're not really interested in like the average guy for that matter, especially, but we're talking about black, they're not interested in the average guy, Apex. Like a lot of these women, they want they want the drug dealer, they want the scammer, they want the robber, they want the guy that's like getting like fast money, and because he's getting fast money, he's living a certain lifestyle. He can provide a certain lifestyle. But when they get
Mm-hmm.
dogged out by that man, when they become a single mother three, four, five times by
Mm-hmm.
three, four, five different of these men, then they don't want to deal with those type of men anymore, Apex. Because
Mm-hmm.
right now, a lot of the guy that he got, like I said, the guy that like literally wakes up and goes to work every day. He has like he pays taxes. He has a legal job. He got benefits. He don't go to the club every weekend and buy section and pop bottles. He's a square. He's lame. He's
Yeah,
boring.
yeah, yeah.
But
Sounds
when
like a stepdaddy.
no, no, I'm about to get there. But then again, when they get dogged out and they become that single mother three, four, five times, they don't want to deal with the robber no more. They don't want to deal with the scammer. They don't want to deal with the drug dealer. They want to go deal with that same guy that at one point in time in their life was a square, was boring, was lame, and he's basically like the fallback guy now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, you not really my type. I've never really dealt with your type before. The type of men you are, but because I don't want to deal with those guys, and because now I realize what's really important in life, and I see that you got it together, I want to deal with you now. So you like the fallback guy. Would you, would you, even if you don't think it's to the extent that I think, would you agree that there are a good amount of women that are like that?
I mean, no, I mean, I definitely agree with you because I've seen it. So I could probably name like two guys for sure, that was probably like middle of the road, kind of like average. One, eventually he ended up playing for the other team, and the other one, he's kind of like, and even if he, grew up and matured and became more of like a handsome type guy, whatever, like, but he was always like, everybody knows him, everybody's friend with him. He's like that friend zone type of guy. And actually, matter of fact, now that I think about it, in the 12th grade, he was voted the most popular guy in our class. But being the most popular doesn't necessarily equate to being the most attractive. Like everybody knew you, everybody was friends with you, everybody was cool with you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the ladies was really like on you like that for the most
Right,
part or whatever. It was always like, whoever maybe like the top athlete was, or even some of the people who like flamed out, like we knew that they was in our class or supposed to be in our class, but maybe they ran the streets a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? It would be those guys that, or I even knew a couple of guys or whatever that was like rough around the edges or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They actually, knocked a couple of, they females around or whatever, still stayed with them through a good majority of their high school career. Cause I mean, it's just like what it was. And the guys who are like, more so average or kind of kept their head down, they studied, they did whatever. And I saw someone put a comment in that say, hey, let's not act like, the average guy are like angels. It's not that average guys are angels or whatever. It's like any guy who might be moving or might be in a certain point in his life or whatever, especially if he feeling himself or whatever, will do his fair share amount of dirt, right? But
right.
we're mainly, when we talk about these types of guys or whatever, we are talking about the guys who create single mothers, the guys who do
Yeah,
irreparable psychological, mental, emotional type trauma to women, and they do it perpetually. These are the type of guys that we are talking about, and we separate them from the average guy because, like I said, it's not that the average guy don't do his dirt, but when you really compare the two, you
not
upgrade in that sense when you go to an average guy. And that's why some average guys be like, okay, like I'm going through hell trying to be with you, trying to maintain this relationship. And you was with that guy for years.
yeah,
And went through just about everything you could possibly imagine going through, and now I'm paying for it. So
Man,
when we make these distinctions, those are the distinctions that we're making. We're not saying that these guys are innocent. We're not saying that they're always going to be honest or anything. They might do their fair share of dirt, but in comparison, when you think of the worst of the worst that you done probably done had, that you went towards, that you dated, that you chose to deal with. When you date an average guy or whatever, it's an upgrade, but it's an upgrade in a sense to where you may get that emotional comfort that you need. You may get all the things that you actually need and that you admire, but then you lose out on a little bit of that excitement. You lose out on a little bit of that toxicity or whatever. Like it's not necessarily the same or whatever. And some people can't settle into that. Partly because, like I said, they're still damaged themselves. And another part of it is like you get bored, you get complacent.
and think about it like this. Thank you for the gifts, Lil Miss Perfect. Think about it like this, Apex. And I've said this before in the past. In college, like let me ask you this, Apex. Who
Uh
you
huh.
think who you think gets more attention from like women in college? The like again, we got two men. So man A is the average student. He's not on any of the sports teams. He's not in any camp. He's not in any clubs on campus. Like I said, he literally goes to class, goes to the caf to eat food, and he goes to the rec center to work out and like play basketball or whatever with the guys. And then you got like the running back on the football team, or you got somebody on the basketball team that realistically, most of those women really don't have that. Most of the women on campus really don't have access to. But because he's the running back on the football team, because he's, I don't know, maybe a star player on the basketball team, which one of those guys do you think gets more attention from women, despite the fact that most women have more access to the average guy?
I mean, I'm gonna give you a third group. So I mean, college is kind of like your melting pot, right? So most people do a lot of their college experiences by proximity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's the same thing with high school, right? High school is its own dating pool. You might meet people from other high schools, but what you got to go to all the games, you got to go all the little functions, and that's when you might interact with people from other high schools. And then college ends up becoming the ultimate melting pot. So of course, athletes are usually like top tier, right? They're the creme de la creme. After that, you might be able to say some of the guys that are like in the fraternity or whatever, they're second best to athletes or whatever. And matter of fact, they probably get around as well or better than
Yeah.
some of the
The frat
athletes.
boys, yeah. Them
Yeah,
them
on on
them Q
on on your
dogs and all
best
these
day.
different frats. Absolutely.
So then you got your and then after that you have your programs where they're going for their doctorates. They might be a potential lawyer. So that's when you start kind of like, okay, like I'm seeing a potential like athletes guy's cool or whatever because he tall, he fit the aesthetic, but the idea of him going pro, what's that? Maybe like 3% of them always go pro. So that potential ain't there, but doctor lawyer guy possibly he could be there. So there's another one. And then after that, you maybe got the persons that's just there for their bachelor's, possibly study history. Teachers, male teachers get no respect. If you go to school to become a male teacher, you don't get like no respect. Like you at the bottom.
But
So,
Apex, hear this out. Like you said,
mhm.
them like frat guys and like I said, them Qs and all them other frats, them dudes is like really active in the nightlife in college. Like them dudes is more active than the athletes. Like athletes,
Hmm.
we might have curfews, we got away games and things like that. Like
I
even
mean, you got
even
to
if
work
one
out in the
specific
morning. You got to work out in the
yeah, that's
afternoon.
what I'm saying, bro. I
Yeah.
lived this, bro. Like I lived this. I was a college athlete. I know them guys is like really outside like every weekend. Even if one specific guy that's part of one of these groups is not out every weekend, as like a committee, if you will, they are outside every
Hmm.
weekend. They're active. They're actually meeting. They're meeting girls at the in the finance school, in all the different colleges that's on campus. They're meeting all of them because they're at all the functions. They're hosting the parties. They're hosting the functions. And then, like you said, there's that guy that's just like, he's just going to class. But it's like, I'll be honest with you, Apex, when I really think about it, and obviously I was around a lot of athletes. I did meet some like people in my business school that like wasn't athletes and stuff like that. I was around people that were in frats, but I would have to think really hard, Apex, if I could really like think of like black women giving that like give seeing that average guy as desirable. And think about it like this, Apex. Why is it that the athlete is desirable simply just because he's an athlete? You don't really know him, and obviously that man has more attention from way more attention from women than the average guy does, but you're still attracted to the athlete more.
I mean, well,
There's a
most of the
reason for
time they
that.
fit I mean, most of the time they fit the physical aesthetic. Like I say, either extremely in shape or they already have like, the build, like I said, whether it be height, muscular, whatever the case would be or whatever. And then on top of that, don't actually be, handsome in the face or whatever. Then you just really just, checked all the boxes, at least for that particular dating pool. Cause like again, I can honestly say high school, college, or whatever, you might have actually dated people just to actually like date people. You wasn't worried about what he made, how much money he made, if he played on the basketball team or whatever. You just
Right.
knew he was tall and handsome and he played basketball. He ain't making no money. He just, he on a scholarship. He got to go to he on a meal plan. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
he ain't taking
Right.
you
I was
on the
that
first
guy.
date. Yeah, on the
We're,
first date, he not taking you to no restaurant. You got to come chill in this dorm room for a little bit, and
yes, we're
maybe
going
we
to
can
the
hang
bro.
out.
We're hanging in the dorm room and we're going to the cab because you don't have no bro. As an athlete, bro, you're not even having a job. You're not making no money. Like you said
Mm-hmm.
in college, bro. But this is my thing. That's my whole point, Apex. In college, despite the fact that people aren't like having full time jobs and making money, thank you for the gift, Little Miss Perfect. Despite the fact that people aren't working, having full time jobs, and making any money, it's still the guy that is either an athlete or is in some sort of program where he's more visible that is getting like that is women are seeing it as desirable and really giving attention, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
mean,
not
absolutely. And like I
like
said,
the
and
dude,
they
the dude,
they
the dude, the dude that's in the library like on Friday afternoon when people was like not going to class on Friday and they figuring out where they about to go tonight and what's going on this weekend. That guy is not getting no attention, bro. That guy is not getting no attention from
hmm
nobody in class.
and that's the one
like
thing that
Apex,
I
bro, a
appreciate.
black bro. He has to be a Superman. He has to be some sort of a Superman, bro. He can't just be an average dude. He can't just
I
be an
mean, not
average dude
necessarily a
that
Superman, but you definitely have to fit the aesthetic or whatever. And then like I said, there's a flip side of it, right? And that's what I used to like about whenever I used to listen to Kevin Samuels' content, right? Because he would always tell people, any of his clients that he took on, as far as like on the image consulting side, he would always tell them, he was like, life happens out there. Life doesn't necessarily happen in whatever little bubble that you created for yourself, right? So it is imperative for people who go to college, and that's why I tell young men that I talk to right now or whatever, whenever you go to college or whatever, try to work your way around and get more of the college experience. I know you want to go in there, you want to knock your grades out, you want to do this, you want to do that, but move around, show up to different places, even if it's just to be there, right? You don't want to be
yeah,
that guy that is always in the library and stuff like that or whatever, because
right.
that's not where people are. Some people will
Yeah, he
be
needs
there, but
socialize
that's
and
not where
network.
people are. Yeah, you can't socialize in the library. As soon as you get to talking or whatever, somebody gonna shush you. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So there
right.
is a part of it to where it's like you have to be able to move around and be where other people are. But at the same time, even if you put yourself or introduce yourself to that environment or whatever, what else are you doing to stand out? Not really too much. Because like I said again, the frats, they're identifiable. They're gonna wear their letters. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be grouped up. You know what I'm saying? Athletes is almost the same thing or whatever. You're gonna know them because 9 times out of 10, if they play for the school, they're
Right,
already posterized in a sense or whatever, right? So what else can you
right.
do besides being there to actually really stand out? And you fall
And
into like that pecking order to where it was like, yeah, athletes are ideal, frat guys are really more so next, and it's really more or less like just the mindset, and you could blame it on immaturity, lack of experience. You could blame it on all that type of stuff for whatever. But then when it transitions over into, real life, when you've already made set choices, or you could even call them mistakes or whatever, you're still making those same mistakes that you were making in high school and college into your real life. And that's the point of when we talk about accountability or whatever. When do you take accountable of the fact that these are just the type of people that you just choose, or that you just go after, or maybe you just have a thing for them? Like, you got to have a certain amount of accountability for that as well.
No, but listen, like you said, the frat people and friend, my girlfriend in the chat said, my girlfriend in the chat said that the it's only like, high profile, only high, high major D1 athletes that get that. That's not true, friend. Friend, I was the NCAA Division two, but like, friend, I'm sure even at a D3 school, like, bro, like bro, people go to the volleyball games, people go to the football games, people go to the basketball games. It's certain activities that like people like college students like actually go to the games and watch the games. Even if they don't
I'm
care,
about to
it's
say,
just something to do before like the turn up, Friday night or whatever. So like I can tell you for a fact that that's not true. Like how Apex said, hey, like the frat guys gonna have they little jackets on or whatever to identify them. Bro, as an athlete, bro, you just when you walk in, bro, they're already gonna know, especially as a basketball player, they're already gonna know you by
if
your
you are
face.
a
The
recruit, if you
energy,
are
the
a
energy is gonna
scholarship
be different.
recruit,
Yes, the energy is going to be different off the rip. Even when you go to the calf, the energy is different off the rip. And not just from women, like from guys too. The energy is different off the rip. Like as soon as you walk in, what's up, Noble? Like bro, people even feel more comfortable even saying something to you.
the
But
only
like
difference is,
Apex
like,
said,
maybe if you're a walk on,
the
you don't
walk on
have the
get
same
love
type of
too.
sauce. I mean, they get love, but you may not have the same type of sauce. But if you've been recruited and you have a full ride scholarship, they know who you are. You are easily identifiable, and even if you didn't know who these people were, because it's not like you got people who are actually interested in the sport, right? You can find this information anywhere. The information is easily obtainable to be like, oh yeah, such and such. Or even if they're like sitting in your class, they have, sometimes they just have certain privileges. Why is this person always coming in late? Why is this person this? Why is this
Man,
person that, or
I
whatever?
was that
Hey,
guy,
he
man.
play ball. He play
I was
ball.
that guy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's why I can have this. I was that guy. That's why I said, like, this video going crazy right now, and me talking to the woman that, like, bro, I really had to think about that because I never was that guy that just and don't get me wrong, Apex, like, some of these dudes that literally just be going to class and going to the library and going to the rec center and going to the caf, like, bro, some of them are like socially awkward, you know. So some of them, when they do get in certain spaces, like you said, they do have to do something to make some shake because they're not an athlete. They're not in the frats, so they're not over there like dancing in the party and strolling and doing all this other goofy stuff. So they do have to like do something like you said and make themselves stick out. But I can't even speak to like what they have to do or because like bro, like I said, I was never in that position. I was always I was always like whenever I went somewhere, like I was good. Like people was gonna show me love. Like, but it's like simply because of what I did though. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, bro, does can that the same way the athlete can walk in the room and they just show him love off the rip, or the frat guys come in and they got a certain level of energy for him. Why is it not the same for the dude that nobody knows, just the average dude? That's the whole point of this conversation. Why is it not the same for
I'm
him?
I mean, like I said, you would have to. You can fit as an average dude. You can fit the aesthetic without being an athlete. So, like I said, if you're already handsome, if you're already like muscular, built or whatever, like I said, there is an area for them. Because, like I said, even though you're not athlete, matter of fact, you might even be ideal, right? Because people know that everybody already wants the athlete or the frat guy, right? But if you fit the aesthetic, but you're not necessarily associated, then you would be ideal because it would be thought that maybe you don't have as many women fawning after you, chasing after you, or whatever the case may be.
What's hey it's Queen it's Queen Ovan said it's not the same for the quote unquote average girl either. So what he said, that's a respectfully Queen, that's a damn lie.
Hey, look, the
Queen.
average girl
Queen.
can roll up on the right above average guy or whatever and still get clapped if that's something that he wanted to do that night.
Bro, it's not even the above average guy. The average girl's going, bro, as long as she's somewhat decent, she don't gotta be the baddest girl on campus. She don't gotta be the baddest girl in the room. As long as she's
She just got to
somewhat
be
decent,
available.
she's going to get attention simply because she's a girl. So that is
Be
not
decent
true.
and
It's
be
not like
available.
it's not like the athletes. It's not like the athletes is only going for the girls on the volleyball team or the girls on the softball team or the girls that's in frats. No, they gonna go for whoever they want to go for. Like that's why that's and most of them average most of the women that are even showing them guys attention is average girls. It's not like it's only athletes dating athletes. No, it's mostly average girls. Those are the women that are giving those men a certain level of attention simply because of who they are and what they do on campus. But yeah, Apex. And you can stay up here, bro. But I want you to before I move on to
Yeah,
Cyan,
yeah, yeah.
I want
I
to
hang out.
I want you to like so just reiterate you do agree with what my lady Miss Sabina had to say in the video. And
Yeah,
you do feel
absolutely.
that a lot of women do things to kind of like not impress but sort of like shit on their friends with their man.
I mean, yeah, none of, and it ain't even got to be their friends, just like social media, like
Women
in
in general.
general. Like every time that you see these Instagram posts, and like I said, they'll post where they at, they post the food, but they don't necessarily post the dude what they with or whatever. It's a flex. Like
Man.
everybody's everybody got their thing to where it's like they're flexing. It was one chick, she was sitting in a, I think this is the last thing I saw on Facebook. She was sitting in a Lamborghini, passenger side of a Lamborghini, and was like, "Yeah, he always got me riding bougie or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, this is the first time I've seen you riding bougie." But I mean, it was a nice little flex though. It was cute. Like they just, and that's why I say I put it more so as a thing for like social media than I
Yeah.
would say that their circle of friends.